And we are recording. What's up, everyone? This is the next episode of the More Smarter Show, our first one virtually. So I'm getting right into it. Dylan, with the if anyone's watching versus listening, I assume most consumers would be listening, but if anyone is watching, Dylan has the 2008 wired headphones in.
Honestly, it's the greatest setup I think I've ever seen. It's got the wired headphones, got this very elegant mic to my left.
Huge microphone, way too big for a screen. But let's get right into it. This is our first time recording online, virtually, and we think it could be efficient and fun. And I'm actually outside my house right now. I know my background's not showing it, but it's a beautiful day. So, Dylan, what's been latest since we have last recorded?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of been a lot that went down in the More Smarter Show kind of world. A lot of like just kind of kinks to be sorted out, and figuring out the future of this show. I still have a lot of optimism though. That being said, for me in the real estate agent land, I have just been doing the same old stuff of which I want to actually get into. This topic is
get into it. Let's go.
I've been going through the very monotonous routine of working with a buyer, scheduling showings, trying to get trying to put them in front of houses that are desirable to them, and then either they don't like it or we submit an offer and they don't want to do what it takes to have to win in today's very competitive market. So that's something that is that's like one of the worst things I think real estate has to offer. And I know,
all right, so let's just pause it there, because you're a realtor. So you're saying, as a buyer's agent, which we've talked about in the past, so I don't want to be redundant of past episodes, but you're saying the more smarter method is not to spend a ton of your time showing homes necessarily, but to be more smarter about it. And we do talk about this a lot, where we say, like, hey, if you're a buyer's agent in real estate agent land, how much are you making per hour? Right? Like between the research and the showing and the driving and the communicating, like do you ever calculate how much you make per hour? That's not a rhetorical question.
I don't. The thing is, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't. What do? You track every single hour that you're working on a specific property?
I haven't in the past, but I started working with a buyer. We just did our third showing, and I have been tracking this one. So I'm at 6 hours already. Okay. I'm counting all things, like from our first consultation on.
And what do you think that's going to change? How do you think that's going to change your perspective on working with people?
I don't know if it will change it or not, but just like if you were tracking going to the gym, right? When you track things in actual data, you have new knowledge of it, and it could have a new reflection from that, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal. It's not necessarily to like adapt to it, but it's to just know it first and then possibly adapt later on. And again, if the sample size of tracking is only one client, then that's not amazing. But if you do this multiple times, it is annoying. I'm like jotting shit down in my notes app, but I do want to see. I mean, maybe I'll make like a 15K commission or something, but maybe I'll put in 150 hours and then I'm at $100 an hour. So it's just all things considered. It's going to be nice to see.
Yeah. Do you think at some point, do you think that's going to help you set the standard for, I guess, lower price point, which equals lower commission clients?
You mean like I might not take on lower price points?
Yeah. Or when I said set the standard, I meant like saying, hey, look, maybe not saying, hey, my rate is $200 an hour, but saying something along the lines of, hey, I only we're only going to see a couple of houses, and we have that. Like, how do you manage it? You can't say that.
No, you can't. I mean, it's not about me, right? It's about the client. And this is potentially their biggest purchase of their life. So you don't want to rush things or make it about you. But, or I should say, and often when you can make it about the client, you in return as their agent can also be more effective. Like this can be a win-win, and that's always the goal.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been discussing with you off camera about the blended method, and that's kind of like the future of potentially the future. I'm always thinking of stuff that doesn't always make it to step 2, but this one I feel like might. The blended method about my career as a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get into it a little bit, and maybe the audience can roast me in the comments like they typically do, or maybe Dylan, you can just give me feedback here. But essentially, long presentation short, the blended method is a hybrid between that being a solo agent where you're on your own as a realtor, and being on a team where you have all these team supports, and and you don't always have a favorable split for yourself to take home money. So that's factored into the math equation of how much per hour, right? So I wanted to blend those two together. And I've actually done this on 5 deals already, but I wanted to make an actual team out of this. So I have the sample size already of 5, and it's going well. And I do this often at lower price points, like you mentioned. So what I'll do is I'll bring in another agent to sort of team up with me on it, but not in the way where like, hey, whoever is available can show the house, but it's more of a preset standard and responsibilities of what we each do in our roles for the client. And what both of us do is both of our strengths only. So like as a realtor, Dylan, what are some strengths? I should say, what are some weaknesses you might have? You got to say something.
Some weaknesses. I would say I could always be better of setting expectations to start. Like that's something I've really been working on. Is I've gotten, maybe like 3 new clients in the past probably 2 weeks, and
you tell them what they want to hear a little too often.
I mean, a little bit, but that was my like major focus, was setting an initial consultation call and saying, hey, we're only going to see the houses that we know are fit. We're not going to go run around like that. I know that's a script that you kind of.
Yeah, that's a strength of mine. So I might try to bring on an agent to help me that's their weakness, right? So now we have that strength on our team because that's my strength. Mm-hmm. Now my weakness though is this is a loaded statement, but sometimes I hate showing houses, which is like what people think is the job, but it's really only part of it. Yeah. So, I don't like scheduling and coordinating with tenants and driving and GPSing and all those things. And
GPSing, like that's a hard thing to do.
And I also don't like, I'm not necessarily, I should say it's a weakness of mine, which is to like, like what an inspector would be good at, like just noticing things in the house.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that, but many agents are. So let's use their strengths, which is those things. And I want to team up with someone who does those things. And I have teamed up with a few, like I said, in the sample size of 5, but in the blended method, it would be just that. I'm pretty good at getting leads. That's a strength. So it would be my lead. Okay, which is half the battle. Mm-hmm. And I would set the consultation with this agent. That agent would be a somewhat of a showing partner. I don't love that term because they are also the agent here. They're more than that. They're more than a showing partner. And then I will do the negotiating and the overlooking of the timelines. And I'm really detail oriented and a nerd behind my computer, and I'm good at that stuff. Together, 2 experts for the price of 1. And it helps the client, which is first and foremost. And together, it's a blended method.
Yeah, I like it. To break it down a little bit more, so the blended method would kind of be the initial consultation is with you, where you are able to set the standard and have that initial phone call, and then be able to do a little bit of the back end kind of research per property. Yeah. Now, you said you've done that for your own leads and 5 of them as a sample size.
Yeah.
The key to the blended method, though, for you is the 35% side of it, where people on the team who may not have as much experience as you, having these kind of initial conversations, are coming to you and they're saying, like, hey, help me set the standard with these clients of mine, and then I'll be able to take everything from there. So when you're saying that you haven't done that part yet, though. Everyone that you've done this with has been your client.
Okay, so yeah, so what you're trying to say is, yeah, all on my 5 sample sizes, they've all been my leads. And good point. The reason I don't want to just continue that being an unofficial partner with someone is because I also think I could help other people's leads as well, because they are also in that predicament. Should I be on a team and give this team leader who doesn't even know my name half my commission, or should I be a solo agent and run around with my head cut off? And again, this is that blended in between.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I would like for this to be a blended method team, I guess, where that agent that's my partner also considers bringing me in when it's their lead, which hasn't happened yet. And that's why, like you're saying, this is now a new phenomenon for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really like this. What it reminds me of is that one podcast from the Real Estate Rockstars you sent me. It was almost last year. I think almost exactly. It was this guy. I don't remember his name. I remember he was a big smiling bald guy, and he was like from like Minnesota or something. And I remember listening to that multiple times, and it was just talking about how you can scale your real estate agency business. And one of the things he was saying was, prior to hiring any agent or hiring any showing partner, like you're saying, you hire not just one admin, you hire 2 admins. Do you think that any part of you is kind of jumping the gun with trying to start a team prior to having some sort of back end? I know you have Meg and
yeah, I have. What do you mean?
So okay, well then go into that.
Yeah.
Go. How would that
totally
kind of like
this might not work for everyone, and this is again a strength I have, is being married to someone who has that company, who has a business just for being an admin for Realtors, who has a business around it with multiple employees that I also have their personal phone numbers for. Like, that's absolutely a strength here. And that's a value add for someone who wants to be the showing partner for me to bring me in, because I have that.
Yeah. So then that's obviously a very big plus too. So when you're kind of pitching the team, it's like, do you have an in-house system that is able to do all the back end stuff? So that's something not to worry about. And
the best part too is I tell these people, because I've been on a team I've been a member of a team, and I didn't love that when it was my own lead and I didn't get much team help. I still had to pay them a big chunk of my money.
Yeah.
I'm telling these lucky folks that are getting this invite, I'm saying, hey, if you have your own lead and you don't do the blended method, meaning you don't bring me into the deal and use my back end systems and all the things I can offer you, that's fine. You keep 100%. I get 0% of that split because you're using me 0%, and that's fine. I'm hoping, because like I said, I have Meg's company. I'm also a mortgage loan originator. Meg is also title. We have like some really unfair advantages to our strengths, that there's enough value to bring me in for that split, but you don't have to.
Yeah. And the hope, I guess, in different avenues besides that would be to also get some mortgages out of it, get majority of title out of it, and maybe even have next management do everything, even if they're not being used. Even if you're not being used.
Yeah, that, like, this is where it is July of 2025. But who knows what it could be in July of 2026 and on. And the interesting part is I don't really need this now. So this is where the more smarter method. And I want to talk to you about, like, I am not in a position to be giving up all these leads by any means. Like, I have, I did this 5 times in the last year, and I closed a lot more than 5 deals. So it's not like every time I have someone, I'm willing to bring someone in, right? Every time I have a buyer client.
Yeah.
But I want to get ahead of my life and my career and start this process now, for if and when there's ever a time where, like, I really have a ton of leads and need a ton of that help. Well, it's not our first time doing it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's really good. And I think one of the things I admire most about you is being an agent. Like, you're an agent, but you think external to that. You think, like, how can I expand? And this is one of the things that originally attracted me to, like, you and Sean and just EXP, honestly, was that everyone that I was meeting with Coldwell Banker, Weicker, Remax, all these big brokers, and they're all like, "Oh, we can teach you this and that and this of how to sell, how to be a real estate agent, how to sell houses." And I was like, all so excited. And then I spoke to you guys, and you guys were like, "Oh yeah, like you can sell a good amount of houses a year, but how many years do you want to do that for? Do you want to do that until you're you're 60? No, you don't. So set yourself up right now by selling houses, but how can you also leverage that business into doing multiple other things?" And
having your head on a swivel,
yeah,
not like a horse who just looks straight. Like that is, I've seen quotes. It's like you want to be the horse who's focused and they can't even see to their opponents are doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's great. Like you will be the best realtor if you follow that method.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but that's not for me. I don't want to be the most highest producing realtor. I want other things as well.
Yeah. And what would you say the desire of that is for? Like why?
What?
Why don't you want to be a best realtor? You could probably make more money being the best realtor in Denville than you could make in doing all the other things you're doing.
Yeah, if it was just about money, then I would do that. But I mean, I really enjoy the fact that I have a call that I'm deleting here. It's probably being recorded. I enjoy the fact that like it's 1:30 on a Friday and I'm outside and recording with you. And I went to breakfast this morning, and I like a more well-balanced life. That's exactly why.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that you can only like, even a not high producing realtor can't really do that. like we're saying this in the best scenario. So a lot of people try to be at the top producing realtor, but they end up also not doing that. And then they're still caught up in kind of like a rat race of trying to close deals.
It's so, I've been just reflecting a lot in the last year plus. I mean, I quit teaching 2 years ago. So really in that time period,
damn,
of just
flies.
Like, I know, crazy. 2023, July of 23.
Wow.
But I'm thinking like, what is life? What is being wealthy? What is being rich? All those things, right? And we talk about this shit all the time off camera. But I think people would see me, I'll use me as an example, and they're like, you only have this amount of assets and money and net worth or whatever. Why are you doing nothing on a Friday? Why are you recording a podcast that 3 people are listening to?
Yeah.
But I used to think that way too, because like if you don't have the end in mind or some sort of goal oriented, process, then it's easy to think that way. But I'm just so careful in where I grow and who I grow with that I have shifted that mindset, and I'm enjoying this time now that I have.
Yeah. Was there something that clicked that made you start thinking like this? Or was it kind of just like over time you were like, I mean,
if you want to get really deep, probably my grandma dying. And just that was when I was 30, that was 2022, but that was when I was 30 or 29, but almost 30. So it was like that combination of my grandma dying and turning 30.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm getting older into a new decade, and someone old in my life died. So I'm like, what is death? What is,
what is life?
What is nothing matters? What is, does my grandma, if she died with $1,000 or $50,000, did that matter? No, that's not the thing she's thinking about while dying,
True. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That,
you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's something that I think about that a little too much. I think like legacy. Now I don't know. Here's the thing though, is I don't think I'm in the position to even care about it now though. Like I think about it, but I can't care about it because I know I can't really affect it right now. Like, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like I need, like, maybe this is such a messed up thought of mine, but I feel like I need more in order to impact my future. And I just kind of go, but I need to close more deals. I need to buy a house. I need to buy more Bitcoin. I need to do X, whatever. I need to do a bunch of different stuff. But because I'm like thinking about doing all that sort of stuff, I'm not focusing on what matters. I think.
Right.
I'm
I
overlooking
understand.
it.
You're like trying to enter the home run derby when you haven't hit a home run yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. I get it. And I do think an in between or some sort of balance is better, but I would prefer you, from my perspective, to err on that side versus the other.
Yeah.
But I do think about my 20s. I was a teacher and a coach, and like I hustled, and I was a ref, and basketball ref, and I like did a ton of extra jobs to make extra money. And we've talked about leveling up and the 100 by 100 and 100 by 1 and all those things in previous episodes. But there is a sense where I'm happy I was 30 when I figured that out and not 20, because I had that. I had 2 homes when I quit teaching, right? Because I was hustling, and I didn't even realize I was.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that reffing games though helped you at least financially get to that point, or was it mainly just the mindset of, being that hustler and then also saying like, all right, now I need to work smarter and not?
Well, 8 years of it, yeah, it did help me. Like there's nothing I would sign up for that type of hustle right now, because like at an 8-year time frame, I would be like, okay, I can do other things a lot sooner than 8 years, so I'd rather. But I wasn't thinking that way. So yeah, I did all that for 8 years, and that was helpful for me.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting perspective. Like so when we talk about you, doing things similar to me in my career, I do always say to you, well, we have different situations.
Yeah.
I'm also married to a realtor. And when I was a new realtor, Meg was like 5 years in. So that helped me go from year 1 to year 2 faster than most people can.
Totally. Yeah.
Like there's just different advantages and disadvantages we both have from each other.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like future wise though, with being in real estate, obviously as a realtor, it's only the segue into different things. That's what my mindset is. And that's really it's always how it's been since I met with like that core group of people that were with at EXP at the Boot and Coffee company. And I think it was in like April or February of 2023. It was like right before I like passed my state exam. And
my meetup, you mean?
Yeah, your meetup. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was talking with everyone, I remember at the end, I was like, I forget the details of the conversation, but what I mainly got out of it was like, don't be a realtor for long. Like your goal is to make as much money as being a realtor possible, create a good system like you're thinking kind of right now with the blended method, but create a really good system that works well for you where you don't have to put a lot of strenuous hours in and you're not relying on a commission check, so you can kind of be a better realtor, which is such a fact. Like the second that you need a house to close is the second that you being a good realtor goes out the window.
It's not about you at that point. I mean, it shouldn't be about you, but it becomes about you if you need that money, and that's never good.
Then you have a bias. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
For me,
go ahead. Sorry.
It's just closing as many deals right now, building up my experience. I'm now a pretty experienced realtor. I had a lot of shit go wrong in my career so far, and I've learned a lot from it. And I think as I continue to grow and get older, I start to think about the same way as you, is how can I systematize my realtor business, leverage my experience right now. I need more experience. I need more kind of like things to close and build a bigger sphere and do all that sort of stuff. But once I do that, where do I go next? It's not just closing another 5 deals a year. It's
but I think you should just let it happen, right? That's what I say to you. Like you should just close 5 more deals a year until you realize that something else you can utilize it to build something else. Right. I think you should force it less and just keep it in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm similarly in that position where the blended method is, I thought of that I've been doing it for a year, but I like thought of like creating a bigger team or whatever we're going to call it out of it like a couple weeks ago. And I've been thinking, as you know, where I'm like, I really want something else. I have my realtor business, I have vessel property management, and I have my personal investments. And that sounds like a lot to people. That's 3 things, but I want
a more smarter show, successful podcast.
True. That's 4. So, but I wanted something. Being a realtor is sometimes tough, and as I explained my weaknesses, I don't love like when that's on display. So I really thought about what is another business either I could start or Meg and I or whatever it is, and then as I thought of things, I thought, you know what? Most businesses pay, or I should say this. I'm going to backtrack a bit. Most businesses that I thought of, which are all connected to having realtor experience, are not large paying paychecks. So here's what I mean. I thought of an oil tank sweep, right? I'm like, yo, every time there's a purchase, the buyer needs to get an oil tank sweep. And the going rate for that is like $200. And the overhead is not a ton for that company. So why don't I just also have an oil tank sweep company? But then I'm like, wait, the going rate of that is $200. And we talk about leveling up and the 100 by 100.
Yeah.
Why would I spend energy, time, and effort into something that is going to make me $200?
Yeah.
Right? I'm making a $10,000 commission and I'm doing this for an extra $200.
Well, you would be personally doing it?
No, my company. That's another thing I would need to hire out. So there's less than $200.
Well, but that's, I think that's actually a great example of something that's good, because something that we talked about in the previous 100 by 100 episode was you want 100 by 100, but you also want to pair that with 1 by 10,000 and 10 by 1,000. So what do all of those things look like combined? And one of my family friends has a construction company, and they like perfectly emulate 100 by 100, but they do 100 by 100 tasks and they do 1 by 1,000 tasks, and both of those 2 things combine to being 50 and 50% of their total revenue. And so it's completely 50-50 split. And
that's nice.
What that is the 2 owners doing the major renovations, so bathrooms, kitchens, etc. Those
1,000 by ones.
10,000 by ones.
Yes.
They also have a handyman job or whatever, like
company.
Same exact company though. It's under the same name, and they have it down to a system, and they don't even have to worry about it. And it provides them half of their profit or half of their income. Profit is actually a little lower because of all but they completely systematize it because they get a phone call. They have a receptionist who answers the phone. The receptionist goes to their iPad, sends it out to one of their 7 employees that just goes to a job, fixes it up, and then they get a wire. And that's so awesome. And if you could just have that going while you're focusing on the big stuff, then you can also walk away from some big stuff knowing that you have that in the back.
It is for you and for me 10 years ago, but I have some smaller stuff already, and I have no interest in building another small thing from scratch. And when I then think about comparing the two, where if I were to start that construction company, right, that is years and years of effort, which is great. It should be. Nothing should be too easy, right? That's worth it. But I could also just be a realtor or have the blended method and make what they make in 20 jobs.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I mean, totally.
And one thing I'm good at and one thing I'm inexperienced at. So then it became like, obviously I should exploit something I have 5 years experience in and I'm good.
Yeah.
That was how I saw it. You have other skills. I mean, so it could make sense for you, something of the sort.
Yeah. I mean, I still have to kind of think of what that golden goose idea would kind of be for me to kind of venture out on. I have a couple of friends that are entrepreneurial minds, and they're like, oh, we should do this or we should do that. It's just like nothing. I'm in the same boat with that. But yeah, VPM is a golden ticket to.
Yes, it's taught me so much.
Yeah.
It's taught me so much. And I think I can now do something like that on my own, but not without a ton of effort. Almost to the point where I would be replacing being a realtor, which is kind of what my point is. Is it worth replacing what I already have some things at?
So now here's my question though, is why you already got to a really good point where you're able to record a podcast on a Friday. You got money, you got assets, you got all this stuff. Why don't you just double down? Why don't you just double down in what you're doing already? Why don't you just keep closing more real estate deals, doing something that you're good at? Like, yeah, okay, you may not like showings, but not everyone likes 100% of the work that they do. And you keep doubling down, you keep closing deals, you keep buying houses, maybe you really focus on doing one flip a year, and you just keep running VPM and then just see where
that's literally what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm suggesting. I went through my mind of changing a business and I didn't.
Yeah. But I'm saying not even doing the blended method.
Well, like I said, the blended method is for planting the seed now, potentially making more money, right? If other agents are going to bring me into their deals as well, and being there for when I think I need it. Like I was an icon agent this year. I'm iconing, which at EXP for our brokerage, an icon agent means capping. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Plus 20. And I get a really awesome stock award from the company, and I get all these things and trophies and shit like that. So that's like a 1% type amount of transactions, which I'm able to handle that now. But when those amount of business, referrals come, like it's a great problem to have that I'm expecting to have more business in my future. I need to have systems in place, and the blended method is that.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I like it.
Versus like a regular team model. I consider that, especially because of what Meg's business is and the unfair advantages we have. But I just really don't. It's kind of goes against my morals, and I don't want to provide leads. Like it's just a different ball game,
It goes way against your morals, and that's you're like the complete opposite of that. So exactly. I mean, doing something that you can actually believe in and trust is best for people. Then that's probably what you should do.
That's right.
Yeah. But
so we'll see how this ages. I mean, blended meth in July 2025 is in like week 3 of pregnancy. So we'll see how this ages. Hopefully
9
there's a fetus at some point. I hopefully, and then hopefully that baby walks and talks and doesn't go to college, but eventually, grows up. Buys a condo instead of college. No, I didn't say that. I'm just.
No, I agree. I hope the same. For that. But I also wanted to, before we end the podcast, point out this sick hat.
Well, if you're listening to the podcast, you don't see it.
VPM hat. It's the same exact one that Jake's wearing. If you're watching, different color, better color. But I hope everyone enjoyed listening to episode 10.
I'll say this: if you comment on our YouTube, on this YouTube podcast episode, if you comment and say #VPM, the first person to do that, I will send you a VPM hat that we're wearing. Is that fair?
Hell yeah. Let's do first 3 people.
I don't know about that. First person. First person without our last names. You can't have the same last name as us.
All right, hell yeah. Well, we got to listen to the end of the podcast then. So, but awesome. Episode 10 of the More Smarter Show. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe and share.
If you like it.